Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and today I'm bringing you the case for Piccolo. And why am I bringing you this case? Because this might be one of the most controversial scenes in all of anime history. This is the scene where Piccolo finally tells Goku how it is. He finally tells him the truth. He tells Gohan that, hey, he is not a fighter like you. And Goku, for the first time, and probably the only time in the whole series, he realizes he probably was wrong. His Saiyan instincts were wrong. His fighter instincts were wrong. And Piccolo tells him face to face, the only rational one in the whole series, tells him, you are wrong, Goku. And Piccolo was always the brains with Gohan in the series. Piccolo was left to train Gohan as a child. Piccolo took care of Goten and Trunks so they can defeat Buu as Gotenks. And finally, a lot of people said that actually Goku ended up being right because he transformed as a Super Saiyan 2. But I say no to this. No to this. You are wrong. And Piccolo was right. And we are going to prove this today by analyzing the whole scene quote by quote. Every single word he says, we're going to prove to you guys why he was right. And I'm going to make a small introduction for this. So guys, there's 3 traits to Goku and Gohan. First is the core drive of these two people. The core drive for Goku is to test his limits and the thrill of battle. The one for Gohan is to protect life and peace on Earth. The second core trait is the typical trigger for them as Saiyan warriors. For Gohan, it's anger at injustice or loved ones in danger. For Goku, it's when a strong opponent appears. When a strong opponent comes, he says, this is a new challenge. I'm ready to face this challenge head on, and I love fighting new warriors that are strong. We saw it in the Tournament of Power. He triggered the destruction of all these universes, all because he wanted to test his own strength. And third trait is the post-fight reaction. Gohan says, I'm relieved that this is over, and remorse for violence. Goku said, excitement and plans for a rematch. Whether he wins or loses, he wants to fight that person again. Secondly, and most importantly, if you guys remember, Piccolo spent a year as basically a dad camp counselor for Gohan. If you guys remember, Piccolo was the first trainer of Gohan, and during the Saiyan arc, he did a training camp with Gohan, and Piccolo watched Gohan cry over bugs, flowers, and even the dinosaurs he has to fend off because he didn't want to cause pain or hurt. He learns that, and Piccolo learns that Gohan's rage spikes only and only when innocent life is threatened. And when he actually trains on Earth, when Gohan, during the Android Saga, trains with Piccolo, Piccolo sees that every spar ends with Piccolo having to coax Gohan out of apologizing when he lands a hit. Again, this shows his aversion and doesn't have an appetite for violence. So these are the main points, guys. But we're going to analyze each scene, each quote from Piccolo in this very, very important scene. Probably the most important scene in the whole series because it prophesizes Gohan. It finally teaches Goku who Gohan is. And Piccolo says it how it is. And this is a very profound and deep scene that I watched, I think, 100 times in my life. And every single time I find myself with an analysis that I have to share with you guys now. I have to share this analysis because I'm sick of hearing this thing that Goku was right because he transformed. And Piccolo was right all along about this. So we'll make the case for it. So let's play the video and enough talking. Let's start.
Enough of this game, Goku.
So what does Piccolo say here? He says, enough of this game, Goku. And what does that mean? What does that mean? And why is Piccolo right here? Because Piccolo recognizes that Goku framed the Cell games to test Gohan because he thought he loved martial arts. And he also thought that maybe if he treats this as a life or death scenario like sparring, Piccolo recognizes that Goku has framed the Cell games as a test for Gohan. And he was completely wrong about this because he thought it was going to be just a sparring match. But Goku later admits he was gambling when he took this decision. He was gambling when he said, I'm done fighting Cell. And it's Gohan's turn. When he hands Cell a Senzu Bean, he's like, fuck, I should not have handed Cell a Senzu Bean. He thought Gohan would enjoy the fighting, and he did not enjoy the fighting. And the moment Cell spawns the Cell Juniors, the game blows up in everyone's face because this ended up not being a game. So when Piccolo says, enough of this game, Goku, this is exactly why he's right.
You're wrong about your son.
When he says, you're wrong about your son, what does he mean by this? So this is what I call projection. Because Goku projects his own Saiyan love for battle onto Gohan. And the future arcs, Boo, Superhero, Super, they all confirm the mismatch and the wrongdoings of Goku. Because Teen Gohan, eventually after the Cell game, chooses school over training for martial arts. And the Boo saga, his skills come back. But his skills were greatly diminished from the Cell games, even though he still has the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. This was confirmed by his fight against Deborah, who has the same strength as Cell and is barely able to keep up. Vegeta and Goku both admit this. And this is something even Toriyama confirmed in his interview. Gohan did not want to fight. He doesn't want to train martial arts more than he wants to be a scholar. Next.
Gohan may have that power, but it doesn't matter.
Gohan may have that power, but it doesn't matter. We have learned through the history of Dragon Ball Z that raw potential without the will to deploy it is completely irrelevant. We've seen it countless times for Gohan. How many times we have to be shown for us to finally agree that raw power is not the only thing? Cell has to murder and destroy innocent lives, and specifically Android 16, before Gohan finally unleashes Super Saiyan 2 and becomes the strongest warrior ever. And this is why this is not when the prophecy is complete. And the prophecy for Gohan is complete eventually in Superhero when he becomes the one and only Beast Gohan. And this is exactly the worst case scenario that Piccolo did not want to happen, and it eventually happened. So this is why Gohan may have that power, but it does not matter.
He doesn't thirst for battle and mayhem.
So to reiterate the point, he doesn't thirst for battle and mayhem. We've seen it countless times, and we've talked about it as his core trait. Every rage burst, every power-up that Gohan had in the series, the headbutt against Raditz, the fight against Nappa, against Frieza's second form when he would completely destroy him, Garlic Jr., etc. This is triggered by injustice to others, and it's not by excitement. Post-Cell, Gohan only fights for fun and fights crime as a non-lethal way. He decides, look at this, I'm going to capture these criminals, but I'm not going to hurt them. This is why he becomes Great Saiyaman, and this proves his aversion to combat and to hurting others. There's no mayhem and there's no battle there. It's just for injustice. This is why he decides to become Great Saiyaman.
He's not a fighter like you. Huh?
He is not a fighter like you. And guys, I'm just gonna keep going for a second and you will see that the eyes say everything. Look at this, guys. Goku realized, guys, So you guys must realize as well. Look at this. Look at this. You saw it in his eyes, and you saw the frustration. The moment the truth is spilled into Goku's mind, when he says he is not a fighter like you, it is personal at this point. It is truly personal, because he finally realizes that as a father he was wrong about Gohan. This is why it hits so deep the moment he says this sentence. And Goku trains for fun, guys. While dead, he trains for fun. He goes to King Kai's planet. He fight while he's in heaven. He trains. While adult Gohan skips 7 years of training just to study. And in Dragon Ball Super, specifically Super Hero, he has to be reminded to practice. He completely forgot to practice. What? I'm studying biology and ants. What do I need to study for? So this data about his personality matches exactly Piccolo's claim here. He is not a fighter like you, Goku. And he ended up being right all along. Countless times we've seen this.
Do you want to know what he's thinking?
Do you want to know what he's thinking? Why is Piccolo saying this? How can Piccolo know what Gohan is thinking? Piccolo is not Gohan's son, but Piccolo spent a year alone with 6-year-old Gohan in the wastelands, training him as his counselor. And what happened? When he spent this year with Gohan and spending that time, when Piccolo spent that time with Gohan in the wastelands, he saw that Gohan was more quiet than Goku. He liked to observe nature. He liked the animals. He liked the dinosaurs. He liked the plant. So he's qualified in a unique way to read Gohan's mind, because he trained him. He saw him at his worst. He saw him at his best. And he's also Gohan's first trainer and Gohan's best friend. So there's no one more qualified than Piccolo to know and to instruct Goku on what Gohan is thinking.
He's not thinking about strength or about competition.
Look at Goku's eyes. Right when he says this, it hits him again. He's not thinking about strength or about competition. There's so much in that sentence, guys. There's so much in that sentence. Strength or competition. While Cell and Goku, both of them obsessed over power scaling. Cell needs to absorb the androids to finally become the strongest. He's obsessed over it. It's his duty. And Gohan actively asks Cell, please, I don't want to hurt you. Stop. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to hurt anyone. Let's not do this. Gohan's inner monologue is, I refuse to fight. I'm not thinking about competition between you and I. I'm not thinking about me becoming the strongest. I'm not thinking about any of these things. So his inner monologue in the same episode where this is happening, all he thinks about is about the collateral damage that he will do if he becomes a Super Saiyan 2, knowing his raw power. He knows that he will hurt Cell, which he doesn't want to do. He knows that Cell will have to hurt the others, which he doesn't want to do. He's not thinking about the competition, about the Cell games. He's not thinking about becoming Super Saiyan 2. Piccolo is completely right. And this is, guys, the next one is where it will hit the deepest.
He's wondering why his father is standing there, letting him die.
And you can see, guys, Goku is in a state of shock. And then what happens, instead of either dismissing what he says, Goku looks up. Goku looks up and he says, man, this guy is saying something deep. What is this green man saying that is so important? Because there's a point there. There's a valid point there. The eyes never lie. And we can see that when he looks up, after he's been told that he's not a fighter like you, he looks up. He knows, damn, Piccolo's right. He's wondering why his father is standing there letting him die. And what happens right after? The animation cuts. Well, the animation will cut to Gohan actively being destroyed by Cell. The bear hug. Exactly as Piccolo is saying this, the animation shows this. And this visualization confirms the thought bubble. Exactly what Piccolo was saying is being confirmed. Goku himself, right after, we will see right now what happens. He starts panicking and tries to throw Gohan a senzu bean. Proof that finally he realized that Piccolo was right all along.
And so
So what does he say after?
your son may be the most powerful person in the world, but he's also a scared 11-year-old boy.
Your son may be the most powerful being in the universe, but he's also a scared 11-year-old boy. What does that mean, guys? Probably the deepest line there is. And this is a duality that defined Gohan for the rest of his life. The moment Super Saiyan 2 fades, he cries over everything that happened. We see it at the end of Cell Games. And a decade of peace lets his power slip. He finally says, this was way too much for me. Because even though he dominated everyone, the second half and the human form of Gohan dominates the Saiyan half, proving Piccolo right. You can see it in the eyes, guys. You can see it in the eyes. The eyes never lie. When I was telling you guys, what will the animation cut to? We can see Goku finally realizes while he looks at Gohan being bear hugged by Cell and wanting him to be thrown a senzu bean, he realizes that Piccolo is finally right. Goku was wrong about his son, and Piccolo was right all along.
I'd rather die than wait.
So we know when he says, I'd rather die than wait, Piccolo is ready to sacrifice himself, which mirror his death for Gohan during the Saiyan arc when he goes in front of Gohan and sacrifices himself. He realizes that he has those paternal instincts, and the Soul Juniors respond. The Z fighters always they decide to finally charge in. Piccolo finally decides to start fighting, and that's validating his refusal to finally stand idle in front of the suffering of Gohan. So Piccolo's roast of Gohan is a clinical psychological profile that he built on hundreds and hundreds of hours spent with Gohan and not on an emotional outburst. Piccolo was right all along. Goku was not. Piccolo spent most amount of time with Goku, and Goku realized it. From the great Saiyaman, when he became this pacifist superhero, it just keeps proving the thesis that Gohan's power is a protector, is a fuel for protection, and not fuel to be a warrior. And Goku finally understood this in Dragon Ball Super and in Super Hero when it says, Gohan doesn't want to fight. I'm not even going to choose him as a fighter for our universe, and eventually become team captain. But Goku realized there that Gohan is not the fighter he thought he was. Even though Goku was right in some sense about the quantity of Gohan's power, Piccolo understood the conditions for accessing this quantity of power, and this is the difference that saved the Earth only after a devastating price, the death of Goku and Android 16.